Group class outline. We're going to talk about what goes on during the class and how long it takes. During the class, we're going to line everybody up on the wall. When everybody lines up, we're going to ask if there's any new students. If there's any new students, we're going to ask them to come off the wall and join us in the corner while the rest of the students review their most recent techniques. During that time, the head instructor is going to do a 10-minute intro with any of the new students, while the assistant instructors or more experienced students are helping the lesser experienced students, and they're praising what they're doing right and just kind of helping tweak their techniques so that they feel better. But making sure that they praise the students for what's going on so that we're making them feel welcome. After the 10-minute review period, we're going to move on to the standing technique. Before we do the standing technique, which takes about 10 minutes, we're going to collect the cards and try to learn at least 3 students' names if we have new students, so that it's more of a friendly environment. After we collect the cards, we're going to do the standing technique with the slice presentation formula. And before we do the technique, we're going to ask any students who have done the technique before to step away from the wall and find a student who has not done the technique before, to minimize questions, and also so we're helping each other out so that we're all learning and all working together so it's friendly and helpful, no resistance. After the standing technique, we move on to the ground technique. The ground technique is about a 35-minute block where we teach the technique with the slice presentation formula. We go to the manual before each slice and we make sure that we're teaching according to the slice manual. And during that time, we're going to teach the technique in the detailed demonstrations, and each one's going to vary a little bit, but we got to watch the clock to make sure that we're leaving enough time to drill the technique for the students. Some of the more complicated slices are going to take longer to review than the mini slices, so we have to know what we're doing in that time and watch the clock. After the ground technique, we move on to the reflex development. If anybody qualifies for reflex development drills, they take about 2 minutes of the class to blend the techniques together and work them through so that we are linking the techniques for future classes. After reflex development, we move on to the mindset. Where everybody's on the wall, we're talking about fight philosophy, the mindset, essential details, indicators, energy conservation. After that, if anyone has qualified for a stripe, we're going to do that. It takes about 3 minutes. Call the students out, stripe them up, congratulate them, give them a round of applause, and encourage them a little bit. After the stripe motion is class closure. It takes about a minute. We talk about bring a friend to class night. We're going to pump the next class, talk about what we're doing, be excited about it. Let them know that the next class is one you don't want to miss. After that is a team cleaning of the mat, get the mat ready for the next class, and thank everybody for coming. During the class, we're going to have to correct mistakes. If we have to correct mistakes, we don't want to discourage the students by saying, no, 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 not like that, do it like this, no, no, don't do that. We want to praise the student, tell them what they're doing right, and very discreetly move their foot or move their hand to make them not even realize that we're correcting their mistake, but praising them, moving it, telling them, good job, perfect, whatever it takes to minimize the correction of the mistake, and telling them, good job, good job. Always want to praise, fix the problem, and then praise them again so that they always feel like they're doing a good job, and they're always learning, and they're not getting discouraged. And when we're doing our strategizing our partnerships, when everybody comes off the wall and we're partnering up more experienced students with less experienced students, we're doing that for a couple different reasons. One is to minimize the questions. If you have a new student working with a new student, it's going to be a very frustrating experience for them, especially if it's their first class. And you have a student who's at one class trying to teach this other student how to do the technique. So you want to take your more experienced students and have them working with your less experienced students so that they can help them through the technique and be a good bad guy. Being a good bad guy is almost harder than learning the technique sometimes, to know where to position your body. So we want to strategically place our students in those areas where it's new student, experienced student, And also we don't want to have a huge weight difference so that the 300-pound man is working with a 120-pound man, and it's very hard for him to move, and it's very hard for his technique to work until he learns how to do everything right. So we want to minimize those disastrous situations where things aren't going to go good and the student's not going to have a good experience while they're there. So we want to make sure that we're making everything be friendly and helpful, and our students are helping each other, and it's just a very helpful environment, and we're encouraging the students to ask questions, but we want to make the questions to a minimum by putting them with experienced students.